how would you like to heal your mind, body, and soul through soul intelligence? Kristine Genovese is a transformative force in holistic health, empowering healthcare professionals to reclaim their own well-being while revolutionizing the way they heal others. As the creator of the groundbreaking Soul Intelligence method, she facilitates energy-based trauma release and root cause healing without revisiting pain. So, Kristine, tell us about this amazing method that you have designed around soul intelligence, and how does that work to help entrepreneurs heal their mind, body, and soul? Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Oh, wow. Well, Lily, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and to have the opportunity to speak with your audience about the power of soul intelligence. Well, I think everybody can relate to the idea of IQ, right? Like your intuition, your intellect, the idea. That's the electric spark in the electromagnetic field. But what magnetizes things to you, what brings things into you, right, are emotions. The emotional EQ intelligence. And I think, like the 80s and 90s, we started to understand a little bit more about EQ. But what I talk to people about is their soul intelligence, that inner knowing, right? That eternal part of you, and how much that is really running the show most of the time. And when I talk about soul intelligence, what I'm really talking about is quantum energy healing. Okay, and bioenergetics. So my method is founded in science, and I work with a lot of functional medicine doctors and integrated holistic healthcare practitioners to help their patients heal holistically and completely. Because when you think about it, like if we go back to grade school, elementary school, foundational school, we all learned that we're protons, neutrons, electrons, right, in this electromagnetic field, kind of vibrating. And so even though we're physical, we're corporal, we don't think about us being energetic beings. But the only way I'm connecting with you through Zoom right now is an energetic transfer. That's the only way that it works, right? And so people, I think, forget that. And so energy can get trapped in people, places, or things, just like it can get trapped in your physical body, your mental body, and your emotional body. And so what I teach and what I talk about and what I help people with is healing the root cause of dis-ease within the body, which is typically trapped energy, and that is usually emotion. When energy is no longer in motion, it gets trapped, it starts to pool in the body, and then it causes dis-ease, dysfunction, or a dissonance in your frequency, and you got to go see a doctor.
Thank you. So do you teach basically the emotion code? Or is there a different method that helps entrepreneurs to release the trapped emotions? Because I'm a tiny bit familiar with the emotion code. Or is that not related at all?
It's not related at all, to be honest with you. Although it does work with emotions, right? So if I'm specifically speaking to entrepreneurs, I actually worked with someone last night, in a session, a soul intelligence session. And I use a book of charts and a pendulum to discern information after I set up a sacred space. And she was having stagnancy in her business. She was also having trouble in her urinary tract. And so what I did is I focused my energy work on her sacral chakra. So I don't know if you're familiar with the chakras, but the first chakra is the root at the base of the spine. The second one is between our hips, which is like our uterus as a woman, where we birth babies and businesses. And for a man, the prostate, like where their seat of their manhood is. So she was really having stagnancy there. So I actually did a session completely around that area of her body to loosen things up. I did this for another entrepreneur and health coach, and she wound up, she hadn't had a period in 3 months. We did the session, she got the period that evening, and then had 3 client emails in her email, like the very next day. So when we release those blocks and we know what it is, then we're able to allow things to flow.
Wow, that's so interesting. So, what needs to happen for this release of trapped energy to happen? Is it just some special method that you implement? If yes, can you tell us more about it? Or if not, tell us more about what else we need to know about the soul intelligence method.
Okay, well, I look at our body as a barometer, right? Our physical body as a barometer to what's really going on, right? All of our emotions. And when something physically goes wrong in the body, typically mentally and emotionally, we're not doing well either. And that's the foundational study called Bioenergetics, which was actually documented in the 1950s by Dr. Alexander Lowen, right? It's kind of common sense. I don't feel good physically, mentally, emotionally, I'm probably not doing so hot either. And so this correlation is what the science is that I do the work from. So, I think when people kind of think about how do I heal, we're really talking about what do I need to take in my body to fix me, whether that's a medication or a nutraceutical or, change what I'm putting into my diet, all those things. But what I do is I actually look beneath what's going on with the physical, and I actually am able to release that trapped emotion, whether it's an self-limiting belief, whether it's an old pattern, whether it's a trauma that hasn't been completely released. All of those types of things are what I look at and find out using my method so that somebody can heal completely. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because like 95%, I'm sorry, 95% of the visits to doctor's offices today are for chronic conditions, things that won't heal, right? I mean, we all have to go to the hospital or the doctor for bleeding or having a heart attack. I get that. But most of what we go to the doctor for is something that we can't get to clear up. And that's typically because we haven't dealt with the underlying root cause.
Thank you. Is there anything entrepreneurs can do by themselves to heal, or do they need to go to a holistic healer like you to?
Well, it certainly helps to kickstart things. I can tell you that. But yes, there's plenty of things, right? This isn't the only way to clear stuck energy. One of the things that you can do, I'll share my own personal story. When I wound up, I'm coming to you, if anybody's looking at us on video, you'll see me, I'm in sunglasses. And the reason I'm in sunglasses is because I have a bacterial eye infection in the center of my right eye. So being the energetic person that I am, I'm like, that's interesting. So I know that the right eye is typically, the right side of the body is typically male. So I'm like, I am having a real challenge in my relationship, and I'm not finding that there's a way to resolve it. And then I know that's exactly what's showing up in my eye. So I did all of the energy work that I could do in the physical to shift the energy. I brought it up from my subconscious to my conscious to recognize what needed to shift. And then I went to the physical doctor to get the antibiotic drops to actually clear up the energy that was so concentrated that it needed help to heal. And that's kind of how everything works together. Some of the things that you can do on your own is to kind of reconnect, like change your environment, get outside, get in nature, because nature has this natural balance to help us ground, right? And get back into balance and peace as opposed to being kind of, chaotic during the day. Another tip that I give people in terms of like how to release energy, right? Movement. I'll share another story. I grew up in corporate America as a corporate turnaround specialist for most of my career. And, fixing people, processes, technology, streamlining organizations so that they would perform, at their highest level. And so I kind of understood energy, right? And what were those underlying causes that would allow the business to succeed or what was impeding its success. And so I really took like everything that I learned in corporate America, and then, instead of saving, the companies, right now I'm looking to try and save like souls and individuals. Does that make sense?
Yes. Can any disease be curable based on this soul intelligence method, or there's certain parts of it that may not, because you still need like a holistic approach where you're implementing this alongside something else that needs to kind of work together?
Well, and that's why I partner with functional medicine doctors, right? Because they look to treat the whole person. And so sometimes something's been stuck for so long, your body needs something to help heal itself, right? Whether that's a medication or a nutraceutical or changing your diet. And it's everything, right? But if we don't address the underlying energetic component, you might fix one thing and then another thing will go wrong, or it'll come back and recur. So it's about working together. It's not necessarily mutually exclusive, right? But there's lots of things we can do to move energy. We can exercise, right? We can dance. We can, talk things out. Therapies like what makes you relive that experience, to cry and move the energy, move the emotion out of the body. My method is a very painless way to do it. That's the coolest thing. All you got to do is show up to a Zoom and receive. So that's the best part, and that I'm able to facilitate the work for somebody.
Thank you. So are you saying that just dancing or just moving your body could actually lead to you releasing some trapped emotions that could be stored there forever, even for like 20 years? And the reason I ask you this is, for example, I suffered with a sore throat and cough and migraine for a really long time. And luckily I healed the migraines. I still have a little bit of sore throat, and I was ill with a cough up to mid-April, and then it kind of got warmer, and then I got better. What kind of I don't know, activities could someone like me do if they didn't have access to a specialist like you?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I was just thinking about you specifically about I would want to look at your throat and your throat chakra and why you aren't able to speak your truth, or what are you holding back, or what is kind of that block? Where did that come from? And in my method, I could go in and kind of see where did it originate and can we shift it completely out? So that would be one thing. But in terms of like, how could you get that energy? Sometimes if you just close your eyes and you go within, and you really kind of ask your body, what is holding me back? What is this feeling? What is coming up? Why won't I allow myself? You can sometimes see a shape, you can sometimes feel a color, and you can sometimes help yourself move it out or lessen it. You can also see like your cells vibrating healthy, and maybe seeing unconditional love kind of coming to your throat area, or moving, asking for that spontaneous healing in the throat. There's a lot of things I think if we just ask, we can sometimes shift what's going on in the physical body.
Thank you. Now, you talk about healing your mind, body, and soul. Are there any particular techniques for each part of the healing, or does the soul intelligence method kind of work in a holistic way where it will have an impact on all areas?
Well, that's the best part. Yes, it'll have an impact in all areas because it just depends on what's going on with someone. So when I set up a sacred space and I do a session, I ask what's in that person's best and highest good. Sometimes the things we're releasing are self-limiting beliefs, which are really trapped, right, in the mind or the subconscious mind. Sometimes it is our like patterns that we repeat. Sometimes it's old trauma that's stuck in the body, and it's in the emotional body. Sometimes it's in the physical body causing discomfort, and so I'm shifting it out of the physical. So I work on the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, ultimately the energetic level. And the coolest thing is Einstein knew the future of medicine was frequency. And some of the cool things that are being talked about now and people are experiencing, they're actually using energy and frequency to destroy cancer cells now. So I think we're all starting to realize the power of, frequency medicine, energy medicine, and how it really can help us heal. I know it was just the big topic at the anti-aging medicine conference that I attended recently.
Thank you. So do you suggest using some devices like bioresonance devices that provide frequency medicine, or do you suggest anything else that kind of gets combined with your method of soul intelligence?
Well, that's a great question. So after I clear out all the stuff that's no longer serving, right, that you're ready to shift, then I bring in all the good stuff. So we download some good stuff to you. And sometimes it is, natural healing therapies. It could be red light therapy. It could be maybe you need acupuncture or energetic acupuncture, or maybe even just going to the ocean, right? And being in, a salt water body, or doing a float, something like that could also help support you. Sometimes, Bach flower remedies will come in, or it might recommend that you take a certain, vitamin. It might even be something simple like water or rest. But I'm going to, share with you, hey, if you feel called to do this in the physical, I'm energetically bringing it to you.
Thank you. Is there anything else you would like entrepreneurs to know about healing through soul intelligence?
Well, there's so much, but like I said, the easiest thing is to experience a session. I do a group session once a month. That I do open up to everybody in the public. It's a free session. And if people are interested in experiencing the method or experiencing that, they can go on my website, soulintelligencemethod.com, and they can sign up for my email list so that they'd be aware of all those events.
Thank you. Tell us more about how you created this method and what result did it bring upon in your life?
Oh my gosh. Well, the origin story, I was in corporate America doing a corporate turnaround. I was in year one, finishing year one of a planned 3-year turnaround. I just got a performance bonus. We were starting to make the turn. Everything was going great. And I got a call from the head of HR letting me know my services were no longer needed. I was like, what? I had always met or exceeded expectations. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never been fired in my whole entire life. So I called my boss. I was like, I just got fired. He goes, me too. I'm like, what? So it turns out that the divine plucked me out of corporate America. Basically, the backstory is the CEO took the board deck that we had said that we needed to hire people in the fourth quarter instead of holding the line on expenses like he insisted. And he fired us both, walked into the boardroom with our board deck and said we didn't hire enough people, and he went on a hiring spree. Now, his company no longer exists. Karma is there, which is a shame because it was doing great work in the world. But that plucking me out of corporate America allowed me time to go within and to really sit with what I really want to do with the rest of my life. And it was at that time I had this incredibly powerful meditation. I had tears streaming down my face where I knew I just couldn't go back into corporate America, that the soul intelligence method was dropped in. And I had worked with a book of charts and a pendulum in the past. And so this allowed me at least the methodology to be able to develop my own system to help people. As a matter of fact, I know you focus a lot on entrepreneurs. I have a whole chart related to work. So whether you're having blocks in marketing or blocks, in mergers or acquisitions or challenges with client retention or whatever those things are, if they're manifesting, that is actually something else that we can look at and shift. So it's the cool thing is you can not only shift things just for an individual, but you can do it for a region, a team, a group, a company. Like, what are those underlying common themes? And so when I do a group session, like I just mentioned, it's always around a theme. So like I just did one, on mothers for Mother's Day, and like mother wounds and mother healing and not feeling loved, and how does that show up? And then I did one for fathers and Father's Day, and like, how does that show up in your business? Because typically the father line is the one where you might have challenges in business. So it's really interesting when you start going to the root cause and finding out what all the correlations are.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can connect with you.
On my website at soulintelligencemethod.com.
Thank you.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.